Welcome to Robo Success, the podcast that loves robots, marketing, and success. Here we spotlight the innovators building the future of robotics. Hit subscribe, share with a friend, and let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Robo Success Podcast. Today, I'm very excited because every time I have a Latino as a guest, it makes my heart, so happy about it. And today, I have with me Sergio Oliveira. He is the CEO and founder of Robotics, and he is bringing us a lot of information about what's going on behind the robots, right? What is happening when a robot is doing the work that sometimes we see autonomous. I think his company is doing something super cool. And now I'm going to let you to talk, Sergio. Please introduce yourself and tell us about you.
Thank you, Jessica. First of all, very happy to be here with you and to have the chance to have this chat and talk a little bit about ourselves and our company, and also about the challenges and opportunities that we see in that market.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit, about your story, your background, and then how you ended up building Robotics, and then we can start, going from there.
Yes, for sure. First of all, I'm Brazilian, but I live in Mexico for the last 10 years. In that second time, I have been working in technology companies for all my life, more than 25 years right now, through companies in security and also in other industries, but also always in technology. We started Robotics around 4.5 years ago, in 2021. Robotics is born inside another parent company that is Leap Ventures. And at that moment, the main idea was to support one of the companies in our portfolio in their scale. So it was a teleoperation platform software. And we saw that some of their customers was looking for someone not only to help with the software or with the technology, but also with the services. So we start that in for a specific need. And fortunately, we had the chance to be in this market since the beginning of the teleoperation. So today we have an operation that's not more too small. Actually, we have 700 operators, teleoperating robots from Mexico in 3 different teleoperation centers for companies in the US for different use case and industries or segments of the industries, right? So last mile delivery robots, lawnmowers, forklifts, yard trucks, something in defense, and also more recently with humanoid robots, mainly in the industrial side, but starting to work with robotic companies in home shores as well.
Awesome. That's very interesting. And I think we're touching on interesting points here and something I have heard a lot in the industry and people who doesn't also understand the industry about teleoperation, right? A lot of people might think like that's cheating, right? That say, oh, that's not being autonomous and this and that. But the reality, I think, is in order to have in the future autonomous robots, we need to train them in some way. And I think I would like, that you can explain our, community about how the teleoperation contribute to the data collection, training the robots, right? Generating all this data that you have also to annotate in order to make a robot smart, I will say, right? How all this path of we see robots, like you say, in the street, the last mile delivery and so on, they need in some way to learn what they are doing. And I think your
Yeah.
team is doing this.
Yeah, no, totally right. And it's very interesting because most of the robotic companies and the robots that we see in production today, they have some level of autonomy. Some of them, they are more autonomous. Some of them, it still depends more the human intervention. But all of them still have some kind of dependency of a human in the loop or some human intervention during their tasks. And that's okay because you can imagine that the complexity of all the tasks that those robots are doing today. Some of those tasks are simple as going from the point A to the point B. And normally, when we are talking about this kind of task, most of the robots can do that autonomously, right? But when we are talking about in it can be different for different industries. But let's say when the robot needs to interact with the environment, right? So last mile delivery robot that is in the sidewalk where we have people, pets, children, other vehicles. Sometimes for some specific tasks, it is still require someone interfering and helping them to complete that tasks. And of course, all this data that is generated in real world, it helps the models and helps the physical AI to be more intelligent and more autonomous. So I think that the teleoperation, that is the first layer of the service that we offer, is one of the big and most important source of data that can help the models or train the models for the tasks that they will do autonomously in the future. But it allows us and allow the robotic companies also to speed up the process to put their robots in production. There are other sources of data that the companies can use to train their model. Yes, and they use that as well. Let's say with simulations or even with physical twins, right? But there are some tasks or some points where the robot will face in the real world that teleoperation can collaborate a lot. The second layer of the services that we offer that you mentioned, that is basically data annotation, is very close to that because we are generating a lot of data when we are operating the robots in the current tasks that they are doing. But then we can also help to identify edge cases during these tasks that also help the models get more and more intelligent.
Wow, that's very interesting. And I think something important to say is like at the end, it's like the computer, right? Yes, we can
Right.
have the best computer and everything, but we always need support, right? If something breaks, right, something happened, we need, that human intervention. And I'm assuming it's the same with the robotics, right? Like you still need that human intervention, somebody who needs to understand what's going on. And I think, like, let me, explain me a little bit what also you do in terms of supporting those companies. Because another thing that I have seen as a challenge, yes, we're talking about mass production, a lot of homes trying to adopt robotics into their houses and companies, but then is also this gap. Who is gonna help these people when something breaks, right? When something is happening. And I'm assuming in your company, right, is also that part of the support that you're offering?
Yes, yes. In the total ecosystem, basically, and again, you're right. The robots they broke sometimes, right? The systems they can present some kind of issue. So what we see is there are different challenges that the robotic companies they can face when they start to put their products in real world in production. And we start to see some problems of operation, not only technology, right? So when something goes wrong, or when they need some kind of assistance, the first tier of this assistance or this support Normally it's done remotely. So let's say that in our case, we have on-call technician team that work with most of our customers, just identifying the first problems that the robot can have, and doing a triage of this problem and try to solve that remotely, right? But most of the problems is software problems or something that they can fix it that remotely. And let's say that it's a problem, a more complex problem, or even a physical problem. In that moment, the team can, for example, escalate that for a second tier or level two of support. Normally, this second tier is provided by our customers for the robotic companies, or for some field agents when we are talking about the robots that are in the fields or in let's say a warehouse of a customer or in the streets. We always have some support from the field agents as well. So that team together, they can support these kind of issues when it's necessary.
Yeah, yeah, no. And again, I kept seeing that issue where we have, a lot of companies developing an awesome product, then they have, distribution channels to get them to the customer, but then they need this kind of support, exactly what you're offering. And I think that's exciting. I think another part that probably, I don't know, we have been talking more, but one thing I have to say is his company is based in Mexico, which means the talent majority is from Latin America. So
Mhm.
it is important to see how, we are now also doing that bridge around the globe, right? Like you can have a team that is in another country, right? And helping with your robot 24 hours, right? So could you tell us a little more about, how creating this talent around Latin America now also is supporting your customers?
Yes, yes, for sure. First of all, Mexico has amazing talent people. We have a very well qualified operators from here, and also engineers and also support technicians. So when we are talking about the robots in production, and we start to have some challenges for the robot companies, that not only technology, but it starts to be operation, right? So we are talking about massive number of robots, and in most of the case, our customers, we can help them in this scaling phase. So when they start to face the challenges of scaling, and challenges in scale are divided in two parts. One of them is, of course, it needs to be cost effective, right? So in order to massify their presence and make available or viable the scale, they need to be more effective. In another hand, they need to have they need to guarantee that they will have the right people and the right staffing to cover all the time that the robots is in operation. So as you said, most of them working in 24 per hours, 24 hours per 7 days a week. So we need to make sure, they need to make sure that they have the staffing correct to support, to monitor it, and to operate or their robots during all this period. So near shoring these kind of services from Mexico, it's a solution that can help in both ways. We have the correct staff, certified operators, certified engineers supporting their operation with a much more cost effective operation that can make these scaling phase viable, right? So that is the first part. The second one is Mexico is very close to the United States. So for most of teleoperation, latency is still a concern. So for the proximity that we have and cultural alignment and everything, it's again it's a very very big advantage that we can have providing our services from Mexico to the U.S. market.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, I'm all about it.
Yeah,
And yes, I'm one of the big, witnesses of seeing that we have a lot of talent, right? I'm very connected with a lot of universities there. And wow, I'm surprised, right? Like all the things these new generations are capable of doing, all the things that they can take care of. And I think you say something very true. We are very nearby US, and in that also means like we also understand the culture more, which is also in the laboral side, right? Like when you have to probably your team probably have to communicate with them, it's easier to create that communication. The culture is not that big difference. Time zones also make it a little easier. So I have another question for you.
sure.
Imagine now you have seen too many use cases with your customers. And what are the success cases you have seen where teleoperation, right? Because you're doing teleoperation for them, have give them an advantage versus their competitors.
Yes, I think that the one of the big advantages is basically help them to launch and to put their product in production faster, right? So we saw some examples of companies that have their product, their robots in the lab for so many years, and let's put some examples here, right? So in the intralogistics industry, right? We have seen a lot of projects of AGVs and AMRs that's basically they plan to have a pilot, a proof of concept or something like that. But the integration with their systems, the integration with their environment is so complex that the project never have success on that space. We have seen some projects for years that was never implemented, right? So the most success histories that we can see from our customers using teleoperation is in that space. In most of the case, the implementation is much faster, and a proof of concept can start to deliver value to the customer from the day one. So we don't need, big integrations with their systems to have those vehicles, those robots in production. So that is a big advantage because it can speed up for the robot companies and for their customers the usage of these important elements. And we know that some industries, in that specific industry that I mentioned, logistics, today the industry suffers a lot with labor shortage, right? They don't have people to handle material inside their warehouses, or they don't have people, they don't have drivers to their trucks. So when we see companies like some of our customers implementing their vehicles with teleoperation, and we can help them or participate in that success history, providing our teleoperation services, and see metrics and against their let's say personally operated vehicles, and we see that we can do that in the same level of safety or more or safer, with the same or better performance, and it starts to scale is very very I get very proud with that.
Absolutely. And I think you say something that I love, right? Delivering the value to the customer in the first touch point, right? I think it's very important that experience, that first experience. I have been working in customer success for too long and a lot in the robotics industry. And one of the challenges that I see, like you mentioned, is a lot of companies are trying to figure it out too many things between production, getting to the market, and so on. And then they always leave customer support at the end, right? It's like, I will figure it out once I have selling the first robot. And oh my gosh, it could be the worst decision ever, because that is something that if somebody has a bad experience, they will probably never buy again from you.
Exactly.
They
Yep.
will leave that company. So I always say to all these new startups, start thinking who is going to be your partner, right? Especially then from some of those pilots, you can even learn if that's the right partner that you can have. Because yes, I'll probably at the beginning you want to handle all the pilot, understand the customer and so on, but you cannot treat each customer as a pilot. So if you already start having a partner that understands the cycle of the support, you can have so much many use cases that are successful instead of you trying to figure it out once you sell. I've seen
Exactly.
too many failures, and well, I love what you're saying. So,
Yep. Yep. That's true.
yeah, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, that's true. That's true. I think that one part of the success is think about all the chain, right? And how to maintain the production. It's very different when the robots are in the labs, and of course the companies has done the most of the robot companies has done a very good job putting their robots, and we can see demos with amazing performances. And but when they start to put that in production in the real world, they will face some new challenges. They will face problems that they didn't realize that it could happen. Regarding to the experience that they experience that they have in the lab. So teleoperation helps a lot in that space because the operator, the team that we have can help to make the hard decisions and be in communication with their team and helping them to solve that. And everything that we do, uh, basically at the same time that we are helping the models, we are helping the physical AI getting more intelligent. The edge cases will not happen in a lab. The edge cases that the models are looking for, they are in the real world, they are in production. So I believe that the most success companies that we see today are the companies that they start putting their robots in production, collecting that data from the real world, and using that data to have better, models trained.
Yeah, absolutely. I have seen that too. I'm connected to too many companies, and I see that is one of the biggest difference, right? The way they are using the teleoperation to really launch a product to the real world, right? Yes, simulation helps a lot. There are other methods that you can use, but once you have real data, real world cases, it makes a big difference versus to have a product that do nice demos.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So we're almost ending here over time, but I have a one last question for you. And is I would like to see what is your opinion on how you see Latin America growing in this industry. What is going to be the impact for Mexico or other countries in Latin America into the robotics industry?
Yes, no, that's it's amazing and exciting point. I think that we have seen already some industries investing a lot in automation in robots. As intralogistics, we have seen also in mining. I very impressed to see some companies in Brazil, in Chile, or other countries investing a lot of money to automate their process and include robots, even big machines, robots in their environments. We know that there are other countries as US, China, and Europe adopting robots, but we have seen some examples in Latin America that very exciting, and we expect to have in the following years it's growing and growing. So yeah, I think that we are very optimistic on that space as well. We don't have yet a customer in Latin America. Most of our customers are in the United States and Canada, but we had already run a couple of proof of concepts, and I expect to have very soon some customers in some Latin America country as well.
Oh, yes,
And
that would be awesome.
yes, and in another hand, we have amazing professionals in Latin America working with robotics, right? So that's great to see the collaboration of our people also, all the collaboration that our people are doing in the robotic space in the world in general.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think one last question is how people can reach out to you, right? How can they get, a hold of you, say, I need robotics so bad. So tell us a
Yeah.
little more how.
Yes, as I said, we are based in Mexico. Our company has a presence in San Francisco and in Florida as well. But in LinkedIn, we have a very good presence. But also, if you anyone can or wants to visit our website is robotics.io. So, and we will be more than happy to talk with you and see how remote keys can help your company, your operation in some way.
Awesome. Perfect, Sergio. So thank you so much for being part of the podcast and being my guest. I really enjoy our conversation today. And well, I'm pretty sure we're going to keep in touch. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
thank you, thank you so much, Jessica.